and welcome to Gierok Farms. In today's video, we're going to be taking care of the cattle here. We got some stuff to do this afternoon, some extra stuff. First, we got to put away the heifers and the bull. We let them out into the dairy cow lot so they could kind of clean out the mangers and that extra feed bunks there. Then we're going to throw a new bale of hay in there, throw some mineral out there, and we got to take a calf. So I hope you guys enjoy the video.
So now the taller one there, that's my bull. And someone asked about if we use, what we do with the breeding bull. So we artificially inseminate. I would say the milking cows, probably 2/3 of the herd is artificially inseminated, at least. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less. Depends on the bull I got then. This guy is a pretty good looking bull. Got some pretty good genetics behind him. He's young yet, he's tall, he's probably in his prime right now. And typically a bull will grow faster and taller and bigger than your heifers or your females. It's the hormones that are still in him. Now, if he's, for instance, if he's cut out like a steer, they grow a little different. It's just the way it is. And he needs to be taller in that to enable to breed them when he needs to. So most of my heifers are bred by him. Once in a while, I'll have some in the other barn when it's icy out or a lot of snow. We don't want to necessarily be moving anything new in with the group that he's already with. So if they're of age, I'll artificially inseminate them. And heifers are a lot easier to artificially inseminate than cows. Everything's kind of like brand new in there yet. Their cervix about the size of my pinky and it's all nice and straight. It seems like they're a lot easier to and quicker and simpler to get. It's just a matter of catching the animal and getting her stabilized and no problem. But so we get a mix of everything. But yeah, then he's like, for instance, an older cow that's or something maybe that repeated a few times, which means she didn't get pregnant when I artificial inseminate her. Instead of sticking $20-25 semen in there each time, I let him be with her for, and it may only take him 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't take him long to get things done if he's in his prime. So that's the story there. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna put these guys back. We had them cleaning out what I call the leftovers. That we wheeled some stuff out that was in the mangers in the barn, and it's almost a treat for them. It's a little better feed than they need. They're actually getting pretty fat, these guys. They're in nice shape. So we're gonna get them back in where they belong, and we gotta put a fresh bale of western hay, we call it, into our bunk for the cows in the morning when they go outside. And yeah, that mineral and salt. Come on, guys.
Come on. You got silos laid out in there. Come on, let's go. Yep, come on.
Now some of these, like this darker one, is actually crossed with this one over here. I think a little brown Swiss maybe. Come on, guys.
Yep. Here, I'll watch the gate.
Yep. These are my favorite ones because they're the easiest to take care of. They're pretty much just eating and growing. All the extras are done with them. I mean, someone asked even about the brown Swiss and milking shorthorn that would be in some Jersey. We'll mix some stuff in. Once in a while, if I get a really big, tall cow that maybe bigger than I care to have for our stalls, I'll put a Jersey in her. Or we've been trying different stuff. The Swiss, one thing I really like, one of the prettiest ones lately we've done is put Jersey in brown Swiss. We'll have to see how that goes because the first time around it's pretty good looking animal, but she is pesty. And she'll let you know she's there in the barn. But then Now her daughters, I don't know yet. She's too young yet, so we have to see how that comes together. Sometimes it skips a generation.
Every breed's got its pros and cons. Like a Jersey is a smaller build, you know, higher butter fat, you know, fits in a stall better, but then it's got a, you know, it's a bit
And they're real finicky. They'll stick their nose up at something that isn't just perfect. They like to have the best. And so then, like, for instance, we sell all the bull calves, so a Jersey bull calf is worth virtually nothing right now because they grow so slow. They don't fill out for the guys that want to raise up steers. And they make the best meat, but it takes a long time to get it, and they don't put quite as much meat on as, like, for instance, milking shorthorn bull calf, or even a cross, because they can tell by the color of the hide and the shape of that animal, and they'll have bigger shoulders, and they'll grow faster, and they'll pack a lot of weight on just with forages, just grasses and stuff.
Yeah, they almost look more like a beef cow.
Yeah, and then if you were like organic farming more, where you just depend on grazing more and grasses and that type of stuff, then that's what you want to put in your herd. You want to put those breeds in there that do well on that. They don't give as much milk.
That do well on grass and
and you won't get quite the production. But a Holstein without the corn, trying to milk them, they don't fill out. They don't get as fat. They're kind of thinner. But it's just a different breed. It's just the way they grow. So we're gonna get that hay in here. This is what they call a 3-to-1 in one, which is your calcium and phosphorus levels. So, you know, like for dry cows, they're going to have maybe the selenium will be more. It'll be way higher, and then maybe stuff like the salt might not be as much. You know, there's different things necessary for more of a pregnant animal versus a milking animal. For instance, if we weren't feeding corn silage, we were feeding all grass and alfalfas and stuff and forages, then there'd be some, you know, higher amounts of one mineral versus another, or vice versa. So that's kind of why there's different types, depending on what these animals are, you know, if they're producing milk or not producing milk. And then this here, trace mineral salt block, it's mostly salt. We always get the one that's got a little bit of mineral in it. And again, this is all going to be free choice. These cows we put mineral in with their ground corn in the barn, but if they feel they need more, because cattle have a tendency to want to balance their own diet, so we put this out in a.
It'd be like if you had a salt craving, you know, or something like that. It's just kind of the same way with cows.
Yeah, and something about nature, because the cattle, they have a way to balance their own ration, but they have to have an option to go get whatever. So if they're not grazing, like where they can go into a bank someplace and find a certain mineral, they're at the mercy of what we lay out in front of them. So we give them options. So yeah, they will go, and some will go for it more than others. And it's interesting, and when we switch from let's say one pile of hay or silages or something, or stop feeding out of the silo versus going into the trench, their intake of their mineral changes.
Yep.
And you wouldn't think, you know, or it would be go from last year's crop to this year's crop, depending on how the growing season is and what's in your soils on those fields where those crops came from. It all makes a difference. And we're just trying to prevent these cattle from having problems, these cattle growing and being productive.
Yeah, you just give them as many options as possible so they stay as healthy as possible.
Yeah, because anything with the vet or any animal that's not feeling right is dollars going down the drain, along with, you know, you just don't want to see that. I mean, you want to see healthy animals. It's just like your kids. You just want to see them healthy. Yeah, so these come in 50 pounds. I mean, most bag products come in 50 pounds for just easy measure. That gets easier figuring. So now here's an example where the mineral got a little rain in it, and it gets almost like, I don't want to say it's like concrete, but it's kind of like mud that dries up afterwards. But this is our dry cow mineral, which just the color alone, you can tell it's got different minerals in it versus your milking cow.
People eat that even though it's wet. You know, it's like a rock. You know, it's just,
Well, that's what mineral is.
yeah. It's,
I
found
mean,
from the
I could
earth.
taste the salt in it. You know, when we were little kids, we used to break off chunks of that. I mean, it's just salt. It's same thing you put in it, but the brown is the mineral in the salt.
Yeah, so those of you that don't know a whole lot about salt blocks, but if you maybe seen them in a farm store or something, like a bigger one, you know, you've got your white blocks that are pretty much just all salt, and then you got your brown salt blocks, which has got some mineral in there too.
Right, and there'll be, yeah, it depends on what's in them. There'll be different kinds. I mean, you can buy them for the deer to make them grow bigger horns. I mean, it's all kind of what you're trying to accomplish more. Here's the only steer on the farm right now, and he's coming of age. There was a time when the brown Swiss bull calf was worth absolutely nothing. Maybe put a little in that other bunk too. Yeah, this is just a cut off barrel. What it needs to have is more of a roof over it. Otherwise it's fine. So no moisture gets in there, because if water gets in there, it just gets hard on us. I don't know, I think we can throw all this out of here. What's in here? Just throw it along the wall there for bedding. Couple laying it. Looks like we got some mineral in here left from before. Maybe we don't need to put that in here. We'll just put that somewhere on the side.
But yeah, even the feed that has been picked through, you know, or a dozen times, still going to use. It's going to be used as bedding, and then it'll get put on the field, and it'll be fertilizer.
We don't waste nothing around here.
Yeah, it's all getting used.
I mean, yeah, it goes from the feeding to the. So you start off with your best milking cows, and on down to your dry cows, and pretty soon the bull and some steers, and then it's bedding. Yeah, do it right. It's very little waste. Yeah, there's enough stuff gets wasted in this world. It's going to be interesting this year what hay's going to be worth. Corn being so expensive, everybody's going to want to plant corn or soybeans. And then you always wonder what's going to happen with the hay.
Alright, now that we got all that other stuff taken care of, my father's going to show us how he likes to tag his calves.
How we tag them? Looks like a two-piece tag. And that goes together like that. And these I get through my Genix. Almost like a serial number or something for the animal, but and they, I don't know, these are actually the best ones. The thing is, I don't like to have them too big. The bigger they are, the more likely they lose them in the feed bunks and stuff. But if they're too small, then you can't read them. And then you get different colors. You can get any color you want, and they'll still put the same information on. So the number on there, so we started from 1, but it wasn't when we started farming. We first started using these official tags. We would just buy our farm and fleet tags before that. But anyway, we must have been about, I don't know, eight years into it. Maybe almost 10 years into farming before we started this. So we just kept tallying them up. And this is just heifer calves we keep track of. So.
Yeah, they sell all different kinds of tags. They sell ones you can write on, and like my dad was saying, some are a lot bigger, and this is just what he's found that works the best for him and holds up the longest.
Yeah, and then they'll usually by the time, so once she's had maybe 4 to 5 calves, some you're starting to lose them already, and it's just plastic, so they just go bad from age. They crack and fall out. That's why we still use our. So with the tie stall barn, we put a number on their neck chain so that they. But it really doesn't matter. So then in the book, I'll write both numbers down when she has her first calf, and then I can just cross-reference, I guess you could say. Yeah, that way when we sell springing heifers too, we know what mother they came from. And we're able to kind of decide, okay, if it's a better cow that did very well, we can probably keep her, or at least it's kind of neat to follow the cow families. And then we'll always put it in the left ear, because when we used to do the calf hood shots, they would put that steel tag in the right ear. There used to be a time when in order to cross state line, you had to have them vaccinated a certain way. Some of that stuff they kind of let go now because they haven't seen problems with those diseases in such a long time. But yeah, so then we'll try to get the button on the inside of the ear. And I always go in with the calf because they'll never, you think they'll sit still for you, but they won't. And then you got these arteries in there, veins or whatever. You want to try to avoid those. I mean, there we go. Didn't seem to phase you too much, not much more in the pinch.
Yeah, and she's still trying to find the bottle and drink,
That's always a good thing.
Probably less painful than even getting an earring. It's
oh god.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. People will put these they'll pierce their body in all sorts of ways, so no, this is fine. But we went with blue. I remember when we started here, so then we had neighbors that had, the orange tag was always kind of a dominant one because it's just easy to see. And there was some other colors too. Yellow was another dominant tag, but nobody had blue. So we decided, okay, we're going to do blue because people used to pasture their cattle. Everybody pastured back in the day. So it was pretty obvious if you had an animal with a blue tag in there where it belonged to. So I thought that's kind of generally the color kind of helps too.
Yeah, or even like in a sale barn, or a cattle jockey even might hold on to a heifer or something. Then they might know, like, well,
that blue one came from this farm.
Yeah, and that one worked out really good for me, so I want to buy that one again. So you kind of want to stand out a little when it comes to your ear tags.
I mean, it's just I had a guy for that when I used to buy my cows. When we had too many cows, we'd bring them to the sales barn, and I said, well, mine will have the blue tags in. So he was always watching for the blue tags because ours always looked so young. Even though they were older, they just
hold up better. Yeah,
it's just the way we don't push them along. They don't get old looking as soon in life. I think it's just the stress is less.
So that's going to be it for the video. A little bit of working with the cattle this afternoon. Hopefully we answered some of your guys' questions. By the time this video comes out, it should be a lot warmer. At least we're hoping so. It's been a cold spring so far. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, check out our Facebook and our Instagram and our TikTok. We got all that now. And we also got a P.O. box. So all that's in the description. Feel free to check it out. We'll see you guys in the next video.